Fantastic, it's Thursday. I can see we are busy logging on. Instagram and Facebook are going to need a couple of seconds to go live. So as I wait for me to go live and get people notified, I'm going to say hello to those of you that are already in. Yay, Catherine, you're here. Wonderful. Hello, good to have you on. So that means Insta is going and Facebook is busy coming online, so that's really good. It is a very exciting day today because today we are doing our last episode for this year with regards to my chemical constituents. I can see the coloring on Instagram is really wild today. Thank you, Insta, adding some extra spice and flavor. I think the Facebook coloring is a little bit more natural, true to form. So we're going to be doing our last episode today, and then we'll be carrying on in January again. So it'll give you guys some time to digest all the info, maybe go catch some of the replays, and then I'll meet you back here in January. Just always look out for those notifications so that you know when I'm going to start going back live again every Thursday at 12 noon, so you can learn more about these beautiful chemical constituents. So if you've just logged in and I haven't said hi, please say something in the comments, send me some hearts. If you don't say hi, I unfortunately am not able to give you a shout out because I can't see who's there. Oh, wonderful. Trish, I can see you there. Fantastic. Thank you for logging in to come and learn more. Good to have you. And Bev on Insta, great to have you on again. So as the people start logging in, it'll be lovely to see you. So I am Dr. T. Tanya Jooste. My page is Botanicamy, and I am incredibly passionate about sharing my botanical discoveries with you and just how essential oils work, because they really are miracle workers in our lives. And today we're going to be talking about a specific chemical constituent which is incredibly supportive for blemishes. Now, this time of the year, blemishes is a very broad term if we think about it, but this time of year, we tend to not eat as healthily, so we may be upping our sugar and our carbs. We get into the sun more, which is great for vitamin D production, but if we stay too long, then we might have some skin discoloration. So there's definitely a lot of things that happen with our skin during our festive season breakaway. Lazan, first time logging in. Yay! You're logging in for the last episode of the year, which is really awesome because that means you have time to catch up for the first 11 episodes, either on my Facebook in the feed or on Instagram under IGTV. And of course, remember, it is always shared in my YouTube channel as well. And then next year in January, we will kick off with episode 13. So really good to have you on today, Lazana. I hope you enjoyed today's session. All about blemishes and the chemical constituent, which is very beneficial if you're looking to support your body with those blemishes. So a blemish, as I said, is a very general term. And as people start logging in, I'm just going to give more shout outs. Hello, Quibus. I can see you're also logged in. Awesome to have you on. And this blemish that we're talking about, because there's a lot of information online. What is this blemish? So it's any type of mark or spot really that is unfavorable on your skin. And it's a flaw, in other words, and we see them as these huge flaws. Most of the time, other people don't even notice they're there, but we are so very critical of ourselves. So this is part of the whole self-care thing. And definitely supporting our bodies the natural way is going to be really beneficial. I can see Andrew's also logged in. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you on. So this constituent, which we're talking about today, is called Sabinene, and it is a monoterpene alkene, all right? So, and it's also bicyclic, so it's got one circle, one ring. There's the guy. I've stopped adding the words because I've realized that it mirrors. Then you can't read what I'm saying. So this is what we're talking about today. It looks kind of funny compared to the previous ones that we've had before. It's actually an isomer of delta-3 carine, which we talked about last week. That just basically means it's the same molecules. They're just spaced differently, and they're in different areas in that specific molecule. All right. And what Sabinene is very well known for is supporting the skin particularly well. And with regards to the blemishes, I can also see Deborah's just logged in. Welcome, Deborah. You're going to have to catch the replay of the first 11 episodes, either on YouTube or Facebook or Insta. And then obviously, as I said, I'll be carrying on in January again as well. Oh, great. Lazan is Bev's friend. Very nice for you to invite her. Awesome. Sharing is caring, especially when it comes to educating about these precious oils of us. So blemishes, what we are going to be discussing specifically today, where Sabinene can really help, is when we are dealing with a mild acne kind of situation. And the reason why a Sabinene or an oil high in Sabinene or even a macerate is so very good, particularly for this condition, is because of its anti-inflammatory benefit, really high in antifungal and antibacterial properties as well, and more so, usually when you think about the whole acne situation, and this could be adult acne, this could be anything from blackheads, sometimes classified as acne, whiteheads as well. I suffer quite routinely from whiteheads, milia, and you always have this scenario where they tend to increase during seasons, whether it's more humid, whether you're touching your face more, for example. And then there's, of course, many other causes of this type of condition. I can see Ali is also just logged in. Welcome, Alison. And obviously, it's a very good idea to go and determine your particular root cause. But I know, for example, during the festive season, I eat a lot more sweet stuff, and that definitely affects what my skin looks like. When I go through a little bit of a traumatic episode, stress, higher increase in anxious feelings, for example, my milia seems to increase as well. So definitely having oils at hand that can support you through this festive season, especially when we get back from vacation, is going to be really important in supporting your body the natural way. So Sabinene is going to be the chemical constituent that you're after, and it's really nice to know that obviously we're not looking for the individual component, because Sabinene is usually found in oils where there are many other chemical constituents in there, which are also incredible in supporting really good skin health overall. Remember, they all work together. It's team you, team me, and it's the same for an essential oil, because the plants produce them several components together. It's never just the one, because usually your body doesn't know what to do with that one component if it's not supplemented or surrounded by its team of other chemical constituents in that particular oil. I can also see Lisa Eman is just logged in. Oil Life Teacher, welcome. Really good to have you on today for episode about Sabinene. So as I said, it's a monoterpene, bicyclic, so it's got that one ring, and it's also an alkene. And if we remember what the alkenes are for, they are usually the molecules that don't have a functional group. No green on here today, no functional group, all right? But the molecule in itself is really very beneficial and supportive when we start looking physiologically and even emotionally in supporting your health, because these oils, the alkenes, are very uplifting. Sabinene is very uplifting, and it's meant to inspire, and it gives or it encourages feelings of exhilaration and refreshment. And don't we all need a little bit of a refreshment going into this festive season? I think we're all incredibly exhausted from the year, and we do need a good break every now and then. We need some extra self-care at certain stages during the year. When we look in particular to the oils that are very high in Sabinene, yarrow comes up as one of the essential oils that is very high. We, of course, have a botanical deo called yarrow pom, and that is where yarrow essential oil, which is already high in Sabinene, has been added to pomegranate. Now, both of these are incredibly beneficial for the skin, and this is probably the best product on the market that you can buy to support your body in additional collagen production, for example. It's very supportive for that, but also the overall skin health. So a really good nutrical or what should we call it, bio deo, and I'm calling it deo because it's the yarrow essential oil in the pomegranate, which is acting as the carrier oil here, but the pomegranate seed oil in itself packs a punch with antioxidant power, so very, very beneficial. And if we look at the emotional side, specifically because of this uplifting effect, refreshing, exhilaration effect that you're going to be getting from this yarrow, for example, yarrow pom and yarrow, the essential oil on its own, is a very good conduit for light, and it creates feelings of, what should we say, depth, and it is really helping you emotionally to feel energetically safe. I I can see Galia's just also logged in. Welcome. And Maria on Insta. Really good to have you on. So this is an oil that's going to help you not only feel very energized or excited, it's on the emotional side also going to be protecting you, which is a really good thing going into the holiday season. And it is very good in shielding individuals from negative influences that drain the energy and strength. Do you know anyone around you during the festive time that may have this effect on your body? This is going to be one that you definitely need to carry around. And I have these little 2 milliliter sample sort of vials with the teeniest, tiniest droppers in them. Oh, I wish I actually had one here. They're the cutest things alive, but I always have some of my yarrow pom in a little 2 milliliter container that I carry around with me. Very nice to rejuvenate under the eyes and just to rejuicify. I know that's not a real word, but it's something that just sounds very descriptive to me. Rejuicify under the eye, because they do get quite drained or dried out during this time of the year. So this is going to be very beneficial on the emotional side as well, because you're going to be inhaling that beautiful fragrance of the yarrow. And let's talk about that fragrance that we're getting, because the Sabinene, I've got some of that blue on my hand now from the yarrow, but basically the Sabinene itself is actually one of those constituents which is used very frequently in the fragrance industry, because it's got a very beautiful and fragrant smell. So it is also very spicy. And when they add these things to fragrances, obviously they are making it in a lab. They're producing the specific molecule itself without all the other additional molecules that come from the plant. But if I can just give you a description of what the Sabinene smells like, if we could ever smell the Sabinene, that is what gives black pepper its spicy fragrance. It's also what in carrots, if you're someone that's used to making macerates, so that is when you take plant material and through a process of very low heat over a very long period of time. So you can either put it in a slow cooker, for example, or you can put it in a glass jar, sealed very tightly, and the plant material is then in your carrier oil of choice, and it then macerates over time, a couple of weeks, where it stands in the sun. And then the beautiful properties obviously then seep into that specific carrier oil. So that's what a macerate is. And carrots is very well known for being high in Sabinene as well. And it's really, really, really good for good skincare. And it's the reason behind the hotness and the spicy element, as I say, of black pepper. And in the carrot, that is actually what adds the flavor to carrots, is the Sabinene. And that is just, I don't know, I find that incredibly interesting. So you can either make a macerate, for example, or you can get a really good carrot seed oil. And just be cognizant of the fact that carrot seed oil may mean two different things, because carrot seed oil could either be the macerate, so it's the seeds of the carrot that's going in, that's been macerated into a carrier oil, for example, or you also do get a carrot seed oil, essential oil, which is obviously a very different process that is steam distilled. It's the aromatics, the volatile compounds that go into the essential oil itself. So Sabinene is noted as offering therapeutic benefits to humans as well on the physical level, so what's happening inside your body, because it's very high in anti-inflammatory properties. There's also a lot of experimental research. So test tubes, for example, animal studies where they are showing that it has an anti-cancer benefit as well, because it's very high in antioxidant power. And remember, anything that scavenges free radicals, because it's an antioxidant, is very supportive to the immune system and is very good to support healthy cells. In other words, really good on a cellular level to support your body to not start proliferating cells that are damaged and instead causing them to go into cell death. All right. But I think the biggest part about Sabinene and why it is really good, especially when you're wanting to support someone with a mild acne kind of situation, is because of the antifungal properties. And it is a very high percentage of people who suffer from acne has usually got a dysbiosis, in other words, an imbalance of the microorganisms on their skin. And it's usually in the relation to a higher fungal population. And that is where the Sabinene really starts playing an important role, because it has antibacterial properties, and even more so, really high on the anti-fungal scale. And at the same time, being very high antioxidant, it's also really good at having anti-inflammatory properties. So all of those put together is going to be really supportive, because what happens when you have an acne kind of situation, it's always inflamed. It's always red and swollen. And this is where the Sabinene is definitely going to support you as well. So it is very good in free radical scavenging, as I say, and it's because of that the alkenes have a double bond between at least one double bond in that ring somewhere, which means that it can take up, and obviously the more double bonds it has between the carbon backbone, the C's in that ring, the higher antioxidant power it has. And definitely the Sabinene is very high in the antioxidant power because of those double bonds. So there's a lot of experimental research showing that carrot seed oil, for example, and essential oils are really good in decreasing your blemishes, especially when you start looking at those high in Sabinene. So my suggestion to you, because it's quite a difficult situation to support, it could be from different root causes. I, for example, know that my skin health really deteriorates when I up the sugar content in my diet. And that's something that I really need to watch. As I say, if I become emotionally very stressed, my milia increases for some reason. Now, milia is that condition where it's the whiteheads, but it's almost like a little white, it's quite hard actually, if you've ever squeezed them out, white ball, and don't squeeze them out, right? Milia is actually keratin. It's a protein that your skin overproduces. And again, there's many root causes why you may be experiencing milia, which we can get into future series. But basically, the way to get out those little white balls is by lancing it out with a really sharp needle. And you are going to break your skin. So it's a good idea maybe to consider buying a really good resource which is going to help you prepare recipes where they let you know which essential oils are very beneficial for a particular situation of acne. Because then it'll teach you how you can soften those milia, for example. I really like using a mixture of black pepper, which is high in Sabinene, and lemon eucalyptus with some carrier oil, and just massaging it over the milia for a couple of days in a row. And then it lances out really easily with a very sharp needle so that I don't damage my skin as much. Because remember, every single time you damage your skin, you're also going to increase that melanin production, and then you're going to start developing darker spots. There's other essential oils that definitely can support with that, but the key is here not to damage your skin as much. So definitely a good idea then if you can first soften the area so it's almost like that little white tight ball loosens around it, and then it's a lot easier to just stick it out with a sharp point of the needle. All right. And there's obviously a lot of techniques and skills that you can learn to support your body. This, for example, is a really nice tool. It's got like these little bumpy things on the one side. This is a clear quartz. Lots of obviously medicinal properties connected to that as well. And then this side is a smooth roller. I might make a tutorial for how to use this in future. But basically you are going to use tools like this to be supporting when you're applying your essential oils in carrier oils, or even your moisturizer for the day. And it's going to increase penetration, and it's definitely going to loosen some of those very tight spots as well, which is very beneficial if you're someone that's dealing with lots of blackheads, for example, or milia, like I do on a routine basis. And I must say, since I've started switching to a more natural solution, so using plant-based products and preparing my own products at home, my skincare routine has become a lot more fragrant and enjoyable, but more so, my skin health has improved dramatically. So I use this guy, for example, to apply my Yarrow Palm serum, which is really supportive for my skin. And then when I do make that very specific serum for the milia that I get, or even blackheads, it even loosens blackheads, I just put like a little drop on my finger, diluted very quite significantly actually in carrier oil, and just massage it on the little area, and then these things tend to be able to get out of the skin a lot easier. And if you are dealing with a mild acne, for example, and it's very swollen and very inflamed, it's a good idea to combine many essential oils, because some of them are going to be anti-inflammatory, some of them are going to reduce the pain or the discomfort that you may be feeling, for example. And when the inflammatory reaction becomes more normalized, it's also going to decrease your discomfort level. So there's really good recipes out there that are going to be very supportive. And we'll talk about some of the oils that are very high in Sabinene very soon. But I would really like to suggest, before I show you this book, right, I'm not endorsed by them. I don't get any proceeds from them or anything, but I find this book incredibly useful, specifically for making up a lot of my at-home DIY moisturizers, face tonics, skincare oils. And the reason why it's so beautiful is, especially when you start looking at mild acne, for example, there's different stages that you need to go through. And the first one is always going to be to promote healing of your skin, especially if the barrier has been broken, and bringing the inflammatory reaction into a healthy inflammatory response instead of an over-inflammatory reaction. And then step 2 is always about rebalancing the skin. And this takes time. It's not just slapping on a product and then expecting one day later that it's going to get fixed, because there's nothing that works like that. The body does need time to restabilize and to heal itself in that process. So if you are interested in a really good resource, especially with regards to making things at home, and it's not just for skincare, there's a lot of other stuff in here on how to use oils in your garden, if you're into organic gardening and all kinds of other good things. But this is one of my favorites, the complete book of essential oils and aromatherapy. And in here is an entire section of many pages where it takes you through the various stages of what you're going to do when you have mild acne, which essential oils to use when, and it is all based on why their chemical constituents, the combination of chemical constituents, are appropriate for that particular stage of supporting your skin to better health. So really, really good book to get. I almost said kry. Afrikaans coming in there really strong today. I think this book is freely available online. It's not a very expensive book either. It's nice and thick, so there's lots of information in here. Maybe get this for yourself as a really good self-care Christmas present. Really good place to start. It's a really good resource for me. I use it almost daily. And in there, as I say, is many protocols. I can also see the conscious Sweet Pea has joined again. Yay, good to have you on. And Lindy Himan, you're also on today. Oh, Irma has also joined Facebook. So good to have you on too. All right, so let's go through some of the oils that are high in Sabinene. So the first one we're going to talk about is juniper berry. Now, juniper berry, gin, I really like juniper berry. It's just got a very clean smell, especially in a diffuser. I also quite often use this for skincare because it is so incredibly cleansing. And it's because there's other chemical constituents in here that is also really good for the skin. I also, for example, put this in my under eye puffy eye blend, which I get every now and then because I'm allergic to my cats and they sleep on the bed with me. So in the morning, sometimes my eyes are a little bit puffy. And this is just one of the essential oils that goes into that magic blend of mine. But yes, Bev is saying that's one of the best books ever. I agree. So juniper berry ranges with the Sabinene between 0 to 30%. It all depends on where you are going to source your particular oil from. My particular one, because I'm able to get lab results for my tested grade essential oil, is 14.34% of Sabinene in this particular batch of oil. And juniper is obviously from a coniferous tree, and it's those berries that we make gin from, but it's also where the essential oil comes from. And it's a very good natural skin toner, and it's also really good in supporting very good urinary health system, by the way. And there's a lot of historical sort of information on why people used to use juniper berry and still do as a detoxifying agent, especially when you start using plant material to support your body to heal the natural way. So when diffused, juniper berry helps cleanse and purify the air. It smells amazing. It's also called the oil of the night, so really good for people who have nightmares, for example, kiddos, really good in the diffuser. But I find this a really good oil for skincare. Now, let's not go and waste our precious gin on our skin because that's got a lot of alcohol in it and that's going to dry the skin out, which, by the way, is really bad for acne, despite what you might be reading on Google, because then your skin just pushes out more moisture and oil because you're now stripping it, okay? So please go and do some research about oil cleansing specifically for acne. It's a lot easier and a lot better way to go to support the skin the natural way, and then you can always add juniper. Another oil which is high in Sabinene is marjoram. And there's a lot of research showing that marjoram is really good for skincare as well, especially when you start looking into the discoloration part of the blemish. Very supportive for that. And this particular batch of oil that I have here has got 7.98% of the Sabinene in it. It's also called Winter Sweet and Joy of the Mountains. So marjoram was always known by the Greeks and the Romans as the symbol of happiness. I think we need some happiness going into the festive season. It's very valued for its calming properties, and that's because of that Sabinene that's coming through, because it is one of those feel-good aromas that you need to have around you. It's also really good for a healthy immune system and cardiovascular system. So it's an all-rounder. Marjoram is an all-rounder. Just like most other essential oils, because of the team you, team me inside this essential oil bottle. And then of course yarrow is also really high in the Sabinene specifically. Yarrow has between 10 to 25 Sabinene. In here obviously it's going to be slightly more diluted because we have it inside a pomegranate carrier oil, but this is going to be your best preparation for the festive season to support really good skincare. It's going to keep everything plump. It's going to support the body with reducing blemishes, and it's just going to be really good for overall cellular health care. Shahida, you've just joined on Instagram. Really good to have you on. We're almost at the end of the episode, so please always know that you can go and catch a replay in my IGTV on my Instagram Botanicamy page. You can also catch it on my Facebook Botanicamy page, and I have my own YouTube channel as well called Tanya Uester, all one word, and you will always find all of my series that I do on a Thursday loaded to my YouTube channel afterwards as well. So thank you so much for joining today. It's been a really fun day talking about Sabinene. It is a really powerful chemical constituent, especially when we start looking at skincare. I hope you're better equipped now. Go and buy that book for yourself. Do the self-care. Look after yourself this festive season and really have a joyous time with your family. And I look very much forward to seeing you all in the new year again when I carry on with my chemistry series. Stay well alerted on the social media pages just to see when I'm going to start up again. And then in the new year, we will start with episode 13 in the chemistry series. So hopefully you learned a little bit extra today. Really good to have you on as always. I love sharing my passion about these oils. If you don't have tested grade oils and you really are intrigued about essential oils and you want to know where to get them, please contact me. Obviously, I can definitely hook you up. I also teach a Discover Essential Oils class on a Thursday evening for the company that I'm a brand ambassador of. And if you're not yet in connection with a brand ambassador or a wellness advocate and you would like to attend that session, just put that in the comments and I'll send you the joining link as well. I'll see you all next year. Have a great one. Cheerio.